Hello. It's Thursday, April 16th, 2020. This is production log. Let's see. Anything new? I've got my camera set up hopefully, so editing will be a fascinating chore. I mentioned this in my other log yesterday. I noticed that Peterson has covered a lot of the ground for me on this. I watched one of his old documentaries that I hadn't seen before, so it's nice to know that the idea is an emergent property of the available resources of knowledge that humans have at the moment. So that's the, I need a sync. Probably not. This video is probably not going to be used, or the audio from my computer. Yeah, so emergent property. Emergent to an extent. There's a level of groundwork that needs to be in place before. I felt a craving to watch The Apology of Socrates. I did that, and I was struck with his pride. And it occurred to me that Socrates, in his infinite attempts to say he wasn't good at anything, had so much pride in the way he spoke, and with corrupt eloquence. Oh, that's for the other stream, I guess. Yeah, that is definitely for the endurance stream. So, I guess it's time to make the spiel. I really do need to get on working on this. So, okay, as our ancestors combated against the complexity of the universe around them. Okay, as our ancestors combated against the complexity of the universe around them, they developed strategies to survive, compete, and thrive in it. As different groups competed, the best strategies stored in the most salient ways outcompeted the alternatives, all the other forms of wisdom, forms and sets. The wisdom for migrating humans was, and the way we stored that was in the stars, and we've encountered lots of social development in how we communicate and the complexity of our potential failures in life. So, yeah, there's that. There's a whole cast of, sorry, I got distracted. So we've encountered a whole host of social complexities, and we've developed strategies, and we've shared the wisdom we've discovered, and the way that works best with the way we've evolved socially is in wisdom-based stories. Mnemonic aids help with people to remember anything, really. You use the mnemonic aid for tying shoelaces, and we go all the way up to, in university, people make their own. It's a excellent skill, and it's just based on how we function as human beings. And in complex civilizations, we moved away from stars that not only physically guided us through the world, but we also stored wisdom in. Perhaps the stories in certain areas were, and the stars that we used to get there were related to those areas. And we settled, and we developed more complex sets of strategies. Some of the earliest deities were the home, or fertility, and all these, and they had their own cults. And I call them cults because they've been out-competed. So if it's a set of strategies that is not competitive against other sets, then you're going to be out-competed by the people who follow the strategies that lead to maximum individual and group success. Maybe some cults work for those in charge, but they end up destroying the whole community, and then it falls apart. And some, maybe the church part falls apart and the wisdom is lost. So there's a level of tradition, and the traditions and more fluid oral part of ancient wisdom gets transferred and it evolves and it hits our minds, and our circuitry produces very creative imagery. You see with creative works, they have very, very deep wisdom and intuition and representation of the world in them. So there's a whole significant chunk of value in that wisdom and how we've evolved to share it. And alongside us sharing it in that fashion, we've also stored it and written it down. And that has evolved with us, and we've evolved with it. I would say we've evolved in tangent with it. When you look at how tightly bound ancient civilizations, even early Greek civilizations, that had very conscious awareness and rationalist ideas and analysis of the world, they still had it very tightly bound. They considered art to be a product of muses speaking through the artists. So there's a significant amount of that involved in our circuitry as well. It's and those who fail to follow these strategies or pick the same versions of those strategies that are stored in a more technical fashion. Well, humans aren't a technical-minded being. We are very, very we're, I want to say literal because like as in a literary. We are a literary and story-driven species. Like we tell each other stories about things. We tell each other all kinds of different things, and that story may contain some wisdom. So you get told the stories of things that went wrong and all kinds of things there. So the tenets that we wrote down and all these different, say, religions at the time, following different deities, were competing, and the sets of strategies that led to individual and group success. You can go back all the way to tribal days, where the different religions were just the different tribes and their set of spiritual guidance. And they intermingled, and the best strategies led to more success. So the part that you brought one tradition or story from one group, and it led your group to more success, all of a sudden your own set becomes more comprehensive and powerful. Or if you get a bad strategy, less competitive. And the set of all ancient wisdom that led to maximum individual and group success rose to the top naturally. And that is why it is so fundamentally, such a fundamental error to consider the Bible or Tao Te Ching or any ancient religious text as anything less, as something like a story, or to consider it literally, because if you consider it literally, you don't look for the analogies or the abstract meaning in it. It's an extreme disservice to the work to do that. So, that's I guess that's what I'm trying to get at, is just trying to express that piece of knowledge right there. I can express and flower it out far more, but that piece of knowledge is the one. Just using evolutionary proof of something and it having value to us. You didn't evolve your hand to suddenly now chop off your hand just because you can plug into your computer and use your eyes. Or you didn't evolve your legs to chop them off and get a wheelchair just because you think it looks comfortable or something approximating that. We are so attached to it that in our ancient wisdom that we travel through the world and we climb. There's even our language is under the same pressures and forces as all of that. So yeah, I'm going to the editing stream next. There's, what did I write? Production log, 11 minutes. So I've got 2 minutes to round off and think about it. I'm not sure how the video quality will be from my phone. Like, I need the right tools to be able to fix my camera. I'm not sure with that. It's feeling like it's coming along. not sure how to round it off. I'm getting a sense of how to start it, but I'm not sure how to round it off to a refined finish. And perhaps writing a script would be the appropriate measure to take at this point in time. So maybe after my spiel I should start writing a script next time. Maybe that's where the next 5-minute divide will be, is scripting. So, we've got 45 seconds. What else can I say? Recommend for myself. Feels good to have the camera on. There's plenty of things I need to work on. So the artwork and the editing will be a fascinating project. This hopefully works. Hey, have a good one.